Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Well, welcome to Foreplay Matters.
Because
It matters.
I'm Madame Boku and you are.
I'm Madam Wee.
And today's topic is about audio intimacy and Willow Smith's directing a gig.
Well, we don't know if she's actually directing or accepted, but
We'll talk about it.
we'll talk about it and get into how you feel about that. The
Yeah.
fact that she's only 18 years old. You know, yeah, we'll
That
get into
emoji.
that one.
Okay. Okay, so what is audio intimacy? Is that a fancy word for a dirty talking?
Dirty talking or phone sex. I
Oh.
would say the webcam girls and phone sex. Are they still doing that today? Phone sex? Remember the 1-800? Remember in the middle of the night, about 2
well,
o'clock in the morning?
You know,
It's
now
like,
we do
oh.
this one-on-one phone sex, and then there's that. I remember when I was coming up, there was a 212-987 number, and it was for phone sex. And you could be a party phone sex, it could be one-on-one phone sex. It was very exciting, and yes, I admit that on a couple of occasions I called it.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted to see what was going on.
And so what happened?
So they had.
Was it a female?
It was a
Or male?
female, it was a male, it was a male, it was a male, it was a male, and then it was
you
me.
did
And I'm listening in, I'm just like, what's going on?
Oh, so they're just talking
They're
and you're
just
listening.
talking and listening, and she's
You
giving,
can't talk back.
You can talk
Oh, you
back.
can talk
You
back.
can talk back. But most of what I heard was, she would say, oh, I'm thinking about, putting my hand on your cock and feeling how hard
But not
you
realizing you're a female.
She was just talking to the men. I don't think she
Oh,
knew
okay,
that
okay.
I joined the call as well.
Oh,
because I
it's
think
multiple people
it
on
was
the
multiple
call.
people that were
Okay,
on the call,
okay.
and so you hear,
So it's like phone sex orgy.
It was a phone orgy for people that have time management issues.
That is hilarious.
So that was very exciting. You remember the movie Girl 6? Like, I was obsessed with the concept of, phone sex. Didn't have the nerve to do it myself, but I was always interested in listening in, and I get turned on by sound. So I'm a very aural, A-U-R-A-L person, and like to hear, well, I'm the other way too, but that one, the one with the A. But I was just fascinated by the movie and the concept, and that someone could engage with another person and create this whole fantasy for another person for a small fee.
Let's put that in there, exactly, for a small fee.
For a small fee, but it also translates into, having phone sex with your man or your woman.
Right, that's
as
what
well.
I was going to get into, because it's like, that's why I said, are they still doing phone sex?
Yeah.
'Cause I remember when we were younger, that was the thing, but now it's like FaceTime
Yeah.
and Snapchat and all this other stuff that they're doing. So what are they doing, FaceTime sex now?
I guess
That's
so.
the video sex now, like the webcam.
I don't know, and so you guys let me know in the comments, because I've never done this before. But
You
I
have a
would like
FaceTime
to,
sex?
not FaceTime sex.
I
no.
FaceTime sex.
Does it get recorded? Does it?
It doesn't record.
Okay.
I mean, pretty much it's like, it's kind of like, because if you're not long distance or, you don't see each other
See,
every
I'll
day.
mess around and press the wrong button. It'll be a Facebook Live or something, and everybody.
From FaceTime, you can't do that. But you can, well, I hope you would. I think they'll censor that on Facebook
I would
Watch or
hope
Facebook
so.
Live or something like that.
I just need
even
to take the button off altogether.
IGTV or whatever. I don't think, they have rules or whatever. But back to audio intimacy, isn't like, do you feel anyone can do that? Like, isn't words and the pitch and the tone, isn't that all important for a good setting the mood?
Yeah,
and
I definitely
a good
think
session?
so. I think, for the most part, if you're good with words, that you'll be great with
Really?
this. If you have a vivid imagination, you'll be great with this. But I also think that those that might shy away from it, or they don't think that they're that great, could get great. You can get training, you can read books, there's plenty of things. We can help you. We can do a class.
Well, you're good at dirty talk. I'm good at the whole video thing and everything, but I can't do it for a long period because I start to laugh. Like,
Really?
if I say something that's corny, or if he says something that's corny, I break role, because it's role playing. It's like role playing over the phone,
It
right?
is. Mhm.
I'm better at role playing in person.
Okay.
But yeah, dirty talk. It's like I can do it, and And, my lover is great at it. Like, he's really good at it.
So he's good at it, or good to great, at it on the phone or in person?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he definitely, like, has the whole voice and he just knows what, like you said, he knows what words to say.
Yeah.
And then he knows what gets me off.
Well, we talked about this a little bit in one of our prior shows, and what has worked for me personally is to actually describe things that are happening to me at that time or happening to him. So for example, I can feel, you pulsating inside of me, or I can feel your breath on my neck, or I can,
the details.
The details, like the sheets are rubbing up against my back, and I feel the heat and the friction, and making me hot, and
Right.
all of those.
Where you can put yourself there.
You put yourself there, but he's also, or she's hearing what you're experiencing. And so it's really just describing what you're feeling. The article that we got, it's from avn.com.
Oh, we know AVN.
We know AVN, and AVN knows us. It's an article by a woman named Amberly Rothfield, and she's talking about tips on audio intimacy, and she basically speaks about what it is that I just shared.
Quite lucrative. How much is she making a month?
Well,
10,000.
That's
$10,000
a good money
as a
game.
phone sex operator. I think I might
So
need to start
apparently
doing
they're
that
still
part-time.
doing it. Apparently they are still doing it, and it is quite lucrative.
Right.
And you don't have to get naked, or
Right, exactly. It's just you got to hone your verbal game, or one up your verbal, like you said, your
for
words, your verbal
$10,000
game.
a month, I can hone the hell out of my verbal game. But so she talks about if you're at a loss about what to say, describe what's going on around you. How the sheets feel under your bottom. How does a cold wall contrast to that warm body rubbing against you? Ask questions about what you might do next and how would it feel. So those types of things that just fill in the blanks for somebody, and it's not just what you say; it's how you say it. If you're a singer, you use your diaphragm. Go from low, and
Yeah, that deep voice
Isn't
gets
it?
me every time.
It's the deep voice. It's the feel of whispers in your ear. It's getting into your head. And it can be it can also be fetishized as well. Like some people really enjoy that.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's like close your eyes and just kind of imagine and take yourself there. I mean, and it doesn't just have to be describing your surroundings or an act of something. It can also be if you and your partner know what gets each other off, which we had discussed in another episode of expectations and stuff, knows how to get you off. Like for me, my lover can describe an act that he's doing as far as his occupation. He's a blue collar worker, and and works with his hands, and just he has that good work ethic, and I like a good strong man that has great work ethic and definitely works with his hands.
So he can pretend you're whatever he works with his hands.
Yeah, he's the mechanic and I'm the car, and he's under that hood doing whatever he needs. But the thing is, describing what he's doing gets me off, because it's like you say this hose or this pipe or this.
Who you calling a hose?
Or something, or inserting or tightening up. I mean, it's just the whole talk of it. It's kind of like I then close my eyes and I associate what he's describing to me to something.
So you're transported.
Yeah, it definitely.
Are you transported right now?
I kind of went there a little bit. I had to pull myself back.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Again, it's up in your verbal game. The pitch, the tone, slowing it down, not of course not talking fast, because if you're talking about blah, 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 that kind of will irritate you. Yeah,
But it's not.
You wanted to say something else.
But it's not just the words. It's also breath.
Yeah.
breathing and pacing your breathing as well with your lovers. When we talk about audible, it's sound. It's whatever that sound is. So it doesn't necessarily have to be relegated to, a word or a conversation or, or monologue.
It's slipping into a mental state.
Yeah.
It's again, it's kind of that mind fuck or that mental fuck,
Have you ever had an experience where somebody was talking too much or they didn't know
what to say?
What to say? That has happened to me.
Do you go help? Do you go jump in and save them, or do you let them just, fizz out?
It's such a sensitive thing because they think
they doing something.
doing something, and you're just like, would you just shut the fuck up?
But you don't say that.
You don't say that. You say it loud in your head.
So
you
then
try to mentally, telepathically say, shut the fuck up. That's
so what do you do? Do you jump in there and then you say something to get it back on track? Or
You could.
No, I'm saying have you, because you like the dirty talk.
I like the dirty talk, but they like the dirty listen. So it's usually not them
talking.
It's
you.
usually, yes,
Yeah, okay.
It's my show.
So have you ever been there where it was like, have you ever got caught up and didn't know what to say?
I've gotten caught up, but I usually know what to say. I have been in an experience where it's been the opposite, where I had a lover that was just talking too much, and it was awkward and it was weird, and so I'll just say, shh.
I mean, I would think that you could probably say, okay, baby, or, whatever it is, your little fetish or playful name that you have for each other. Exactly. Like, let's meditate right now. Yeah, let's meditate right now. Let's channel our energy, our sexual energy.
Right.
And do you have any blockage, baby, anywhere? Your 7 chakras?
Your throat chakra is working overtime right now.
So you got to kind of like transition them into something else, either you talking or you saying, let's get ready to meditate.
Yeah.
Let's channel our sexual energy.
Have you ever gotten a request for phone sex? And have you ever indulged in the request for it?
Well, I haven't gotten a request for phone sex, but I mean, like I said, my lover, like every so often, because my voice is very sensual. So I've been told.
If you say so yourself.
So I've been
Madam
told.
Wade.
But because I may be setting the tone or how our conversation is going, it's just like, okay, we want to switch to video chat.
Okay.
So because he now wants to see me,
Okay, so
but
it never just stays audible.
No. No, sometimes it does,
Okay.
but as far as like just someone requesting to have phone sex with me, no.
Yeah.
No, I haven't received that
I
request.
have had that request before. It's weird if you're not feeling that person like that. So
So would you follow through with it and charge them?
no, I mean,
You
excuse me.
said they said phone sex. Phone sex is a fee.
You're always the businesswoman.
I am. Shoot, if you're good at it, this woman is making $10,000 a month.
I know, I'm going to have to rethink my life.
Yeah, exactly.
actually.
So if someone you didn't like or you weren't attracted to requested phone sex from you, would you do it and would you charge a fee?
I would not charge a fee, and I probably would not do it. I probably say, well, that's not my thing or whatever, even though it might be my thing. It
So
really
you only do it with someone
that I could get into.
You're intimate with.
Yeah, and that I could evoke all of the emotions that are
Okay,
required
okay.
for, said phone sex engagement.
But how can one get into this industry if they wanted to?
Now, see, this is a question here, and I think I'm going to be going over this article once again. She's actually teaching a class, so there's opportunity there, and so go to the website and avn.com and check out Amberly Rothfield teaching a class. It looks like I wonder if you can. I'm sure she probably has videos or something.
She has videos, but I'm sure others do. I mean, I'm sure you can Google
or go on
webcam,
YouTube.
porn cam. I'm sure Pornhub allows you to do it. The reason why I'm saying it because, you know, we have friends that have decided to do their own videos and then put it on Pornhub, and I'm like shocked because it's like,
Which friend?
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But it might have been a fantasy or something. But the thing is, because Pornhub is so open and you got the webcam girls, I mean, that's a big thing. You know, in the industry, it's like the webcam girls, I think, are making more than the adult entertainment film girls. Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge industry. And I mean, as you know, just the sex, health, and wellness business is it's $24 billion industry, and the numbers are going up every day. So, you know, there's lots of room to make money if you're looking to get into that business. We are not endorsing that at all. But there are articles here, and I'm sure
At
that you can find a good.
Yeah,
I'm sure you can find a good article or an introduction class on YouTube or Pornhub, as my partner has just mentioned. But yeah, I think that it's also, it seems to me that it's sexually liberating, you know, for
probably, because think about it, you're not taking your clothes off.
right.
You know, it's not a part of, I guess you can say, the sex trade as far as prostitution. You know, it's just phone sex. What harm is that?
I mean, it sounds like it's helping some people if they keep calling.
Right.
She's making
making money.
We keep going back to she is making money.
Right, exactly.
But do you think, I think that it can also be healthy in the context of a relationship, and so, you know, as we
and also because you probably aren't giving your name, you know, no one knows who you are. It's in the privacy of, you know, your studio or your home or your bathroom, wherever you're doing this at, you know, in the middle of the night. You'd be like, honey, let me go take a bathroom break real quick. But,
why are you gone so long?
You know, but
Right.
if you're shy, I'm sure it probably builds self-confidence and self-esteem, you know.
Yeah.
So kudos to her.
Kudos.
And mainly because, like you said, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So
You see money.
yeah,
everywhere.
exactly. I'm like, whoa, she's making $10,000 a month. Like, that was the first thing I saw, money.
Right.
So it is a business.
It is
It's a
definitely a
lucrative
business. But also you have to be engaging, and you also have to get into the mindset of whoever it is that you're engaging. So it's not about what your fantasy is, but you also engage them into, well, tell me what it is that, you know, why are you calling? What are you interested in? What do you know, what kind of fantasy can I fulfill for you tonight?
Right.
You know, those types of things, rather than just kind of reaching in the air and
Right.
trying to figure
and
out
giving
what
that
somebody wants
attention to
hear.
your customer,
Yeah.
because you have to understand you have a customer, right? And they may do a customer satisfaction survey. Rate this, you know, 5 stars for this.
Right.
But yeah, so that you can continue to do that erotic pleasure, play experience for that customer. So they keep coming back so you can continue to make the money that you were making. You got to stay on your A game. You
Right.
got to stay on your verbal word game.
Right. Buy a thesaurus.
Hey. So this next article, which, you know, we talked about this a little bit, and I'm like, really? An adult film producer based on, I think something was on Willow Smith's, I don't know if it was on Red Table Talk or if she mentioned it, they were talking about porn.
Yeah, it was that. It was the Red Table Talk episode, and she actually discussed the topic of porn with her mother and her grandmother. And she talked about how she had first viewed porn at 11 years old, and that the mama, Jada, mentioned that she had seen a collection of hardcore porn on her daughter's Tumblr page. I did check out the Tumblr page. I didn't find the porn. So I don't know if it was removed or if I just didn't do a deeper enough research on
But kids, but the thing, okay, but let's go to one, appropriate, inappropriate. Very inappropriate because of age.
Right.
Right? And as a parent, I'm sure Jada was like, however, as a consumer, you know, even though we're parents, but we're adults, but, you know, I sometimes have to stop because I've experienced this with my child as well, you know, and have to stop and say, okay, one, now he's male, she's female. Now, I would expect that a little more from boys, because just think back when we were younger, boys were looking at the porn magazines and porn and experiencing, you know, sex young, and so forth. Now today, the kids have access because of the internet and technology. They have access to this. But the conversation we had, like I was like, oh wow, I expected of a boy, but not a girl.
Well, and I chimed in that one of my earliest experiences with learning about sex was my mother used to read a magazine called Forum magazine, and it wasn't a graphic visual like Playboy or Hustler, but it was more story oriented, and so you would read all of these like fantasies, and it would conjure all of these things. First of all, what's this doing under my mother's bed? But second, when's the next edition coming? So I was very, very interested at a very early age, and I want to say that it was preteen age that I was reading some of these things, which led to my curiosity about sex. At the time, Dr. Ruth Westenheimer had a radio show, and so I was listening to the radio show, which I loved, and it's really one of the reasons why, you know, I do what I do today, is because she was teaching about different aspects of sex. And these are all things that I really didn't have any experience with, but my interest was piqued after I had read the magazines and such.
Okay, so you read the magazines, you listened to the Sex Talk radio show with Dr. Ruth. Now, did that lead to you actually watching porn?
Oh, yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
And so you were, because she saw hardcore porn, you were watching hardcore porn at a young age.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For
now,
sure.
did that lead to you now saying, okay, I need to scratch that itch, and now you want to experience sex?
Well,
at a young age?
What it led to is masturbation. That's what it led to. And so, funny story. My grandmother was a hairstylist, and she had this machine that she used on her clients that was a scalp massager. And so I stole the machine.
because you couldn't go ask for a vibrator.
I couldn't go ask for a vibrator. And so I stole it and I used it. Somehow I knew that if I just put it down here, that it would feel good. And so I would read the magazines, I would masturbate, and this all happened at an early age. I want to say maybe about the same age, 11, 12, 13. So it's not odd to me that she had an interest, especially because she's exposed to a lot more things than most kids her age,
right.
I would imagine. And, you know, her parents are in the news all the time, and, you know, they talk about, you know, we've had this conversation, the open marriage and, you know, their sex lives. And so you can't hide that from a kid. It's you know, it's Googleable.
Well, I mean, and also because they're actors, you know, and so they see, you know, the roles that they play on screen, and most of these kids that are, you know, of famous parents, they're invited into a world that is constant.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for them to turn off.
Yeah.
They see things, they hear things. So, however, but you're saying that's Willow in a very famous family, but you also experienced the same thing
I did.
from a not famous family.
We were far from famous.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, this is, so when I say inappropriate or appropriate, you're saying, no, this is appropriate.
I'm not saying it's appropriate. I'm saying it is. That's what I'm saying.
You're just saying
that
it is what?
It
just
exists.
is.
It just is.
It just is.
And
Right.
so
It's going to happen regardless.
It's going to happen. You know, the great part about my curiosity was that my mother spoke to me about sex at a very early age. I want to say about 7 years old.
Right.
And so,
Mine as
you know,
well.
I knew the birds and the bees and flowers in the trees and all of that, and thought that I was the smartest thing in second grade. I just knew that I killing it. So I had some exposure to it, and it's a natural curiosity.
Right.
And if there are stigmas that are put on sex, especially with regard to, you know, young children or communicating with your kids, then they will find ways to figure out how
Yeah,
to
they'll
get to
find
it.
ways.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and it's easier now, like you said.
yeah, I mean, and your kids are grown now. Mine is not. He's a teenager now. But I've experienced this with him preteen as well as now going through the teenage growing pains. He's going through growing pains. I'm going through growing pains as a parent. But you have to communicate with your kids and meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want to give the wrong message that sex is bad or it's unhealthy, because sex is very healthy. You just have to have that making the right decisions, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, safety, and so forth. Now with Willow, because this adult film producer was taking it a step further, this is where we were having the conversation, because pretty much she put it out there and pitched to Willow to have her director's debut of directing a porn video at 18 years old because of this talk on Red Table Talk.
Yeah.
That's what we were having the conversation earlier about.
Yeah.
Appropriate or inappropriate?
For me, it's just weird. And I want to say, I don't know what the demographic age is of directors of porn movies.
Right.
I don't know. In my head, I think old, middle-aged white man. I
guess we're assuming.
Right, but it's so many different things and so many different aspects. There are women that are creating porn and they create different genres. There are young people that are creating porn. It's just, I think that for me, I'm stuck in my head that it's Willow, and that not America's, daughter.
I know, sweetheart. Not Willow and Jada's baby.
Not the baby. No, not the baby.
Cute little Willow.
But I understand that they pitched it to her. She has not responded. So
she has not responded. So we will put that out there.
We will put it out there.
But I will say that what Willow said was an artistic, because she is an artist. She's a creative. Her brother, I think, did a docuseries on water and for Flint, Michigan, I think. Yeah. So, they're trying to get into, bring out their creative side and so forth. And she did say an artistic piece. So a part of me, like you said, because it's like, oh, no, Willow, she's 18, and you kind of take on like, that's your daughter, right? And it's like, no, and no.
Grown.
But she's 18.
Yeah.
And so my initial response was inappropriate. But then if you look at the other side of it, you play devil's advocate, if you look at the other side, she said artistic in the fact that we just had a conversation that kids are doing it. They're looking at it at 11 or 12. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to get into child pornography because then that becomes a legal issue. Right. I mean, of course, they're going to have the right attorneys on so that none of that, they cross the line or so forth. But the fact that she's 18 and she does something very artistic and clean and educational, is that appropriate so that because the kids are looking at it anyway, do we want them to have an educational, artistic piece that can help parents because they live in a social media world, have that conversation between social media and sex and what we need to have versus our kids looking at hardcore porn.
Right. Well,
that's the shocker. It's like when you catch your child and watching hardcore porn, it's like, whoa, you kind of take a step back and you feel like somebody just, punched you in your gut, so.
It is shocking because it's such an adult-natured theme, of course. And, of course, you want your kids to be your babies all the time. And so, as you mentioned, you want to have the conversation where they are so that they know that, one, for me, at that age, it's inappropriate, for you to be watching this. If you're going to watch it, I want you to understand that this is fantasy. This is not real intimacy between two, adult human beings that are functional in the world. It was a set of people there's 20 people on the set. There's hot lights that are on them. You know what I'm saying? There's take one and
there's a script.
There's take 110. You know what I mean? It's not pleasurable, and so to be aware that this is not real, and so and and then have a conversation after that.
Exactly. So, audience, definitely tune in every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And hopefully you love this topic. Leave a comment, a like, a follow.
Share, let people know.
Foreplay matters. And you can view us on YouTube and all the podcast outlets, as well as our website at secretsociety.life. In our IG TV is Secret Society Life. Yeah, we're kind of in there.
We're everywhere.
You
We're
can find
everywhere.
us. Right, exactly. So tune in every Wednesday at 7, and thank you for joining us today. So
thanks so much.
Beaucoup. You have a takeaway to say?
Yeah, my takeaway is au revoir.
Au revoir.